Recording in progress. Again, welcome everyone. I guess now we are complete. So I will be your preacher for this second guidelines. But this guidelines, we will just depend the guidelines that Darwin gave to us about how God speaks to our, even to our desires or even to our small dreams and desires. And when Darwin was talking about this, I remember the songs that I played this when we start the dreams. And at the same time, I remember the video. This is the summary of our formation course in Chile. And Jello was the one who did the editing of the video. And somehow I see how God speaks to my desires and dreams, that even in my small and little desires, is also his desires. And later I will tell you more about this and the fruit of that video. So in these guidelines, I will share with you 3 experiences and desires that echo or mirror God's desires. But first, I want to share with you the fruits of my prayer this morning, as Darwin invited us to stay in the desert. And the image that came to me is the image of quarantine. You can go out, you away from the people. But best thing for me is to stay in the house, be with the people you love. And I mean, I can be myself. Now, staying in the desert is an invitation to be with God, sometimes alone, the people you love, with God. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be yourself in front of Him for everything that we have, also in expressing our desires, even if it's small or big. And I remember one time when I was young, every time we will visit the house of my father's friend, he has a lot of do's and don'ts to me, instructions. Dress well, to behave well, do not touch anything in the house of my friend. You should sit properly, don't go any places in the house. So sometimes I didn't like to go in our neighbors or in the house of my father's friend, because I cannot move freely. I cannot speak what I want. But in our house, for sure you also feel this one, I can sit wherever I want. I can wear clothes I like, sandal or short. I can sit to the sofa with my feet over the table. I feel free, and I can be who I am. So I invited you, as we enter this prayer this morning, again in the desert, but with this disposition of prayer, the quarantine, to be at home. Prayer is a place where you can be yourself, express whatever your desires, and don't be afraid to be yourself. And my central passage is what I read, Exodus 3, chapter 3, 7-12. Exodus chapter 3, verses 7 to 12. In this passage, I will show it again. We can see the answer of the question of Darwin this morning. What is it in the burning bush? God shared his desire to Moses. And if we will divide these passages, we will have 3 parts. And when I pray it, I saw 3 parts. The first one is the reasons why God went down, or why the desires of God came. And the second part is the desire of God, when he expressed his desires. And the third one is the sending to Moses, or their partnership. Okay, so the first part, reasons why God went down and why the desires of God came. There are 3 reasons I see. He has seen the slavery of the people in Egypt. He has heard their cry, and he is aware of their suffering. or we can say our suffering. And the second part is where God expressed his desire to Moses, or shared his desire to Moses, to free them from the power of Egyptian, which is to give freedom. Second is to bring them to the beautiful land, or to give a home. Third one is to feed them with good food, to nourish them. Then the third part is sending and partnership. God said to Moses, "Go, and I am sending you to bring my people out of Egypt, and I will be with you with this mission." But before this sharing, now before this sharing of desire of God in the burning bush, actually in Exodus 2, yan, Exodus 2:11 to 12, Moses also have these experiences and have these desires. It says here, after a fairly long time, Moses, by now a grown man, wanted to meet his fellow Hebrews. He noticed how heavily they were burdened, and he saw an Egyptian striking a Hebrew, one of his people. He looked around, and seeing none, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. If we will also notice, Moses also saw the suffering of the people, heard their cries, also saw their slavery. But what is different from God, or to the first passage that I gave to you, God expresses his desire to Moses. But this time, Moses didn't express his desire. Perhaps he didn't know. He didn't know his desires. He didn't know how to name them. So what he did is he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he met God in the burning bush, God helped him to name his deepest desires, of his heart, to give them freedom, to give home, and to nourish his people. That is why if we can see this action of Moses, he killed the Egyptian. It talks about this deepest desire of Moses, which is also the deepest desire of God. And when Moses discovered that his desires are not different, from God's desire, and God named them, they made an alliance. They made a partnership. We are now partner with this dream, with these desires. And God said, you are not alone with this desire and dreams. Our desires, even small or big, sometimes manifest the God's dream and desire, and wanted to make an alliance and partnership with that. So don't be afraid to be yourself in this moment of prayer, to express your desire to God and your dreams to him. And now, I will share with you 3 experiences and desires where God speaks through them. And perhaps it can also help you for your vocational diary. Okay, so the first one, I remember this dream and also this desire I had before. And really, I didn't share this to anyone before, even to my family. I wanted to be an actor. To be a movie star. I used to be seen in TV when I was young. And I use a lot of whitening soap and products to make my skin clear and white. And one day, I expressed this desire to my office mate. And I didn't know that he knew some film producers, the one who make films. And to make the story short, they offered me to lead an independent film, small or local movies, like 30 minutes films, And really, I was excited in the meeting. And then when I read, they gave me the script, and I read the script. The story was about LGBT film, and there were some censored scenes. And in the meeting, I was just smiling, but inside I was a little dying, and I didn't say no. But after then, I didn't appear anymore to the meeting, and I told to my office mate that I will not pursue this film because he didn't tell me about the theme of the movie. Well, it was my desire and my dream before that in somehow I was a little ashamed. But to be famous, I didn't share to anyone. But as I learned to express it to God, no, inside of this dream, no, is my deeper desire to be heard, my deeper desire to exist, that people may come to know that there is Rudy who is existing. And when we prayed about how our desires can be a mirror of God's desire and God's voice, I come to realize that in somehow, God has the same desire to to be known by many, that as many as possible, people will come to know him, that he is existing. God also wanted to be heard. If we will look at the desire of Jesus, when he said in John 14, 2 to 7, John 14, 2 to 7, I will read, "In my Father's house, there are many rooms for everyone, and I am preparing a place for you there." Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really know me, you will know my Father as well. From now on, you do know him and have seen him." If we will read, between the lines, behind these lines of Jesus, the desire of Jesus is to let the Father be known. Now, and for sure, his desire mirrors also the desires of the Father to be known, not just for the own sake, for his own sake, but so that many lost children and lost sheep will come back home. And as a missionary, I believe that this partnership that I have with God, this desire that I have, is as a mission to let God's life and love be known as many as possible to many people. And another experience that I have was with my mother. I have 7 siblings, and I am sixth in the family. And one attitude of my mother, that I also somehow inherited, she couldn't sleep at night if we are not complete in the house. And one night, actually not just one night, many nights, she woke me up at 12 midnight. She was asking me to go outside. Then I asked her, why? It was so dark. No, at 12 midnight. What happened? Because your brother did not go home. He's not here. So let's find him. At 12 midnight, we went out checking all the house of the friends of my brothers and my neighbors. And at 1 a.m., we finally come to know where was my brother. He was sleeping in one of his friends, or the house of his friends. And then we went back to our house, and I saw my mother with calm and tranquil face without any worries. And she slept first than me. And remembering this experience, I see and recognize how is also the desire and dreams of God mirrors and echoes to this desire of my mom of bringing everyone in the house and bringing everybody at home in the house of the Father, securing and assuring that everybody is at home. And I said that I inherited it because in somehow, I'm not sure if my brothers also notice it. If there's someone is missing in our table when we are eating, I was always looking, where is Kuya Joe? Where is Mike? Where is Jello? And somehow that one, no, in the table, no, God is also assuring ba na wanted that everyone is there in the table. And yeah, even in those small desires, small worries, mirrors and echoes God's desire and voice in our life. Even nga, di ba, in sleeping, as I remembered, Mike also shared, in our desire to sleep is on the deeper desire of it is our desire to rest. And on the deeper desire with that desire to rest is our desire to have peace. And also eating, di ba? Our desire to eat, perhaps this is God's desire to nourish us. And I have this mission. I felt that this with this partnership, God is making me His partner to bring everyone, you know, be at home and not be lost as a missionary. So going back to my desire to be an actor, not to be a famous, when I go deeper with this desire, I find a desire to be known, but to let others know me that I exist. But when I go more deeper, no, I encounter a deeper desire, longing, which is longing to know myself, no, to know the reasons of my existence. These questions that why I am here, what is my purpose and direction in life. So this is my third desire and experience that I will share. This will be the last. When I attended my first vocational retreat, this is how I discover God's desire is also my desire. I arrived to Tagaytay. The Tagaytay is the place of our retreat and retreat house of Verbum Day here in the Philippines. I arrived there with full of excitement because it was my first time in Tagaytay, and here in the Philippines, it is one of the coolest place. But as I arrived, I was disappointed because everyone was in silence, praying, because I thought we were in vacation retreat, because I didn't know that the word vocation is about this kind of discernment. So when one missionero invited me to attend a vocation retreat, I immediately said yes, because what I know, it's vacation retreat. So when I arrived and attended that retreat, really I did not understand anything to what Darwin shared. Darwin was also the one who's giving this vocational retreat with Father James and other missionaries. And he was also the one who, but what marked me with this retreat was the theme or the title of the theme. Where is my boat going? And that time, I was working as a call center company, earning enough money to support my family, to buy the things I need and I want. And I am happy, happy with my family, happy also with my friends. They don't have, sickness. And but one night up to midnight, I wasn't able I cannot sleep because this question, where is your boat is going, I cannot answer. Because even though I'm happy with my work, with my family, with my friends, I don't have plans. I don't know where is my life going. I don't have directions. But so I went out to my room and find a place to pray. And my feet brought me to the sala. And when I sat down, I started to ask Jesus in my mind, Lord, where is my boat going? I really don't know where is my boat going. Saan nga ba ako pupunta in Tagalog? Where I am going. And when I asked that question, immediately I saw this picture. This paint, and it says, "Go out to the world and preach the gospel to all nations." Oh, then inside of me there was a great joy, but I said no to Jesus because I don't want to be a missionary. Yeah, they don't have salary. They cannot have their own family. They cannot have babies ba. And I wanted to have a big family because I know how happy it is to have a big family. But deep inside of me, there is a joy inside because God answered this longing bana with meaning na now I have direction. Now God also has the answer with this question. But I said no, though. So what I did, I went back to my room and I wrote it in my prayer notebook or vocational notebook. And in my vocational notebook, there were designs, and the designs were Bible verses. And on the page where I was about to write this experience, I saw and I encountered again the same passage, but complete already. Go out to the world and preach the gospel to all creatures. Mark 16:15. Now my passage na it already had a passage. Oh, but then I said no. When the missionary asked me after the retreat, did you hear any calling of God? No, I didn't hear anything. But yeah, like what Darwin shared this morning, diba? Sometimes we're done and this desire that we have, or the desire also of God, when we found out, the desire of God and my desire are the same, but it's somehow difficult. No? So I done, but I I persevere in attending the school of the word. Then they teach us how to pray, how also to preach the word of God like this. Then there I felt again the joy of giving the word of God without salary, and it was different from the joy that I experienced when I earned my salary every 15th of the month. It was different. Then the fire, the joy was growing and growing, and then I cannot escape this call. Yeah, I cannot run. I don't run na. I decided to enter. I decided to discern. And yeah, right now I am here with you and saying na you cannot run to the call of God, but I am sure that you will not be disappointed when you give also your dreams and desire to Him. And there I also discovered that this desire of me that I wanted to have a meaning, I wanted to have desire. This is also what I wanted to give to the people, to those people around me, to my friends, to my family, and also to the community. And this is also the desire of God, as Jesus shared in John 10:10. I came here for you to have a fullness of life, to have this joy, to have this meaning of your life. So now, I would like to invite everyone, to invite each of you to enter in your house, enter in the desert in your prayer this morning, wearing your comfortable clothes, sitting and laying in your favorite spot in your house, without anyone, alone with God, feel at home in your prayer, and be yourself. And ask these questions. What are your desires, or what are my desires that I want to express to you, God, even small or big, and help me not to run. Not to run with these desires and dreams. And try to make a list as much as possible to list it down, even the small or big dreams and desires that you have, and bring it to God. And ask Him, God, what do you want with these desires? As also the question of Darwin this morning. Would you, and also another question, last one. Would you want to have an alliance or partnership with Him with these dreams? And I will share the passages in our group chat in Messenger.
Thank you, Rudy. I think, well, we can stop recording already, I think. If you can also